listening to the Dynamic Women podcast. Each week, you'll be inspired by our global community of women. They'll share with you tools and stories to help you be dynamic in every area of life. He's your host, award-winning coach, and the CEO and founder of Dynamic Women, Diane Rolston.
Lovely dynamic women, and welcome to the Dynamic Women podcast. I'm Diane Rolston, and today we're talking about how to stay on top, otherwise known as being number one in whatever you're about. So whether you want a successful business, to be the best in your area of expertise, or even number one in your health, then knowing how to get to the top and how to stay there is important. So you're going to learn today about how to work smarter, not harder, to advance in what's important to you. And by the end of our podcast today, you're going to have clarity on your biggest asset and how to use it better, evaluate how you'll be memorable and implement a plan to stand out, and design the best way to attract those you want to work with. So we got to start off with even just asking, what are you number one at? Is it you're number one as a real estate agent? Are you number one in customer service? So think of it in a couple ways. Business-wise, what are you number one at? Are you number one in your product category? Are you number one in your team? Are you number one in sales for your area? Are you number one when it comes to humor? Are you number one in the way you are creative and you problem solve? And personally, what do you want to be number one at? Do you want to be number one in your health? Do you want to be number one in triathlons in your age group? Do you want to be number one in baking, number one in dog grooming, number one in gardening? And it's not that you're actually having a competition with the people on your street, but do you want to excel at it? Do you want to be the best at it? Do you want to be a high achiever in it? And so it's not just what are you already number one in or the best at, but what do you want to be number one at? Because maybe you're at a point in your life that you're thinking, now I want to take my hobby business into a more powerful, stronger, successful business. Maybe you want to change careers, or maybe you want to scale your business to the next level, and it's already successful. You get to really choose. And so as I go through the rest of the podcast, I want you to be thinking about that. So next thing you really need to know is, what is your biggest asset? And I'm not talking about your house or your car or a boat or a big bank account. I'm talking about, if you're thinking of professionally or in your business, what's your biggest asset? Is it your email list? Is it your product being top notch? Is it your ability? Is it your network? Or is it your employees? Thinking professionally and in business, those are super important. There may be some other assets. And so if you have some different ones that you want to share that I did not list, please send me an email, info@dianerolston.com, with the subject line, podcast my assets. By working your assets, by having your assets be the thing that other people know about, that sets you apart from your competitors, that sets you apart from anyone else in that category, these things will help you to get ahead. But only if you look at your asset as, how can I optimize this? So if you have a network that's very substantial, how can you use your network to help you to step forward? So can you reach out to more people? Can you have people on social media support you, tag you, share, invite their people to your events, invite them to your open houses, to product launches, to your store, whatever it may be. So sit down, look at what your assets are, and set a clock, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and sit with yourself or your team if you have one, or coworkers or employees, whoever it may be, and brainstorm. So you have these really cool abilities, what can we do with that? You have these great employees, what can you do with that? You have amazing product, are you really leveraging that? You have a very strong email list. Can you use that for referrals? Can you use that for ways to engage the audience more? Your asset is the thing that's going to help you become even more of the number one, or even more the best in that category or industry. The next thing I want to talk about that you are going to love because it's an easy thing to change. It's what's your point of view? So if you have, let's say, dog food company, what is your point of view around dog food? I'm sure you've seen the commercials where they've got like, here's the cheapo brand and that's the brand everybody seems to be using, or they thought it was good, but it's not because the product list is bad. So are you the company that has the bag of dog food that has the really good ingredients? And so is your point of view that, the human should be able to basically eat the dog food? Or is your point of view that it's more important to have convenience? It's more important to be able to pick up the bag at Costco and get a big bag that's cheap? Is your point of view that your animals are important, but your lifestyle is more important? I don't know what it is. I'm not in the dog industry, but for whatever you have, a product or service, that you can figure out a distinct point of view. And the question that you need to ask yourself to know if it's important enough, to know that if magazines, newspapers, radio, bloggers are going to pick this up and care about it, is it memorable? So are you using words that everyone else is using? Now, can be a really good thing because it's something that others are searching for. But is what you say about that topic memorable? For example, if I was to be in an interview, and I do a lot around goal setting with my clients, and I do a lot around building success and having more success in life. But can you imagine if I changed, or I had a very distinctive point of view, and I said that having goals is a waste of time? You'd be like, but what? You're a coach and you talk about goals, and why are you saying that it's a waste of time? See, now you're curious. So if that was the title of a blog, a podcast, that goals are a waste of time, you'd want to be like, yeah, well, prove it. And so that's more interesting. It's more memorable. Or what if I said having success in life is not important? Success is not important. So then you're like, well, then what is important? So when you go into an interview or when you're doing your social media content, this is a way that you can stand out. And even if you're like, but I am the one who interviews others, well, you still need to make sure you stand out in some way. Otherwise, sadly, you're going to become the invisible host. Now, when we look at people like David Letterman, Jay Leno, they are hosts that we remember. Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah. So the key thing is, even when you are the interviewer, you need to make sure that you stand out with your own unique point of view. What this is going to do for you is to make you a non-invisible host. You'll be a present host and a host that people remember and love. So speaking of being memorable, I ask you, are you memorable? When you attend parties, events, when you are interviewed somewhere, when people meet you, do they remember you? Is there something about you that they remember? Because sadly, if they don't remember you, they can't do business with you. They can't call you up when they need someone in that industry because they don't remember you. So how can you make yourself memorable? There's a few different ways that are super simple. One of them is, when you go places, have a very solid handshake. And when you meet people, make sure you're magnetic in that meeting. Now, being magnetic is one of the 9 pillars of being a dynamic woman. And so in that moment, when you're meeting someone, do you say their name again? Do you say, wow, it's so lovely to meet you? Does your face light up? Is there something that you do that makes you unique in that moment and makes them feel like they are the most important person in the world? And in that encounter, how can you have them remember you? Is it going to be your humor, your kindness, your calm demeanor, some very poignant things that you've said, how you've been able to help them quickly, how you're a great listener? You have to have something that makes you memorable. It doesn't mean that you're outgoing. It doesn't mean that you're an extrovert. It doesn't mean you're the smartest, most powerful person in the room. It just means how can you help them to feel special in the moment so that they remember you? And what about you is going to be unique compared to others? Is it the way your hair is, your clothes? Is it something that you've given them? Maybe your business card is unique. Do something that really sets yourself apart. Why is it important to be memorable? Because you want them to think of you when they need your product or service. You also want them to think of you when someone else is asking for your product or service. And when they think of your industry, they think of you because you are the best. You are the number one. And here is the easiest thing that everyone can do, no matter what industry you're in, no matter if you have a product or service, no matter if you're a professional or if you are running your own business. Using the word the, right? So the expert on. So think, what makes you unique? What was that number one thing that you want to be a number one in? Now, you're not going to say the expert at sales because it's like, well, you're saying actually that you are number one, better than everyone else in the whole world. Why not make it a little bit more specific? So if it's sales, well, is it online sales, direct sales, sales to groups, high-end sales, home sales? So what type of sales is it? And then use the expert at, and just insert whatever you're the expert at. Now, obviously, you need to be in integrity. You need to be able to back this up, not with awards that say that you are the number one, because not everyone can get that. But when you make it specific to your unique talent, your unique skill, you are really able to stand out from others. And when you stand out, people know how to buy from you, and you are top of mind for opportunities. The other thing that you can do is maybe you haven't won that award. Maybe you aren't the top salesperson. Maybe you are not the best dog food, whatever it is. But what you can do is say that you are amongst the top. And so the way you can word that is one of the leading, one of the best, and then insert at the end. So if that feels more comfortable to you, if that is way better than saying the expert, then go for it. Use that. But one more thing I want to say about using the expert at. A lot of clients of mine, they say, Diane, well, I do this in my business, and then I do that in my business, and I do this in the business, I do services and products, and it just seems like a whole mumbo jumbo of all these different offerings that they have. So when you use the expert at, you can actually encompass everything inside of that. And so I'm the expert at helping women to be dynamic, or I'm the expert at leading a dynamic life. And so what does that mean? I can coach and be an author and be a podcaster and run a women's community and a speaker. And I don't know if I said author, but all these different things that I can be under the umbrella of the expert at being a dynamic woman, the expert at leading a dynamic life, the expert at empowering women to be dynamic. So what are you an expert at? Use it to be memorable, have a specific point of view so that you stand out, and use your assets to help you attain all of this. And at the end of the day, this matters the most to you because it's a way that no matter where you are in your business journey, whether you're starting out or whether you're looking to scale or looking to sell, or you're looking to get a promotion at work, this is important for you to be able to move ahead in a way that's highly successful. So that's us done for today. Wishing you the most fabulous week. Get out there and make yourself memorable. Get out there and start using that title of being the expert. And until next time, stay dynamic.
Thank you, Dynamic Women, for joining us today. Please hop on over to iTunes to subscribe and leave us a review. Who do you know who needs to hear our message? We'd love it if you'd share our channel with your friends and family. If you're ready to be more dynamic, have more balance and more success, head over to www.dynamicwomenclub.com/free gift for your Key to Success book. Stay dynamic.